Hello, welcome back. Now let's go to Manage tab and let's discuss the changes. Now you could see inside SQL pools. So you could see we have option to create SQL pools, Spark pools or Data Explorer pool. And you could click on new and you could specify the configuration and you could create a new SQL pools. So you could see estimated cost and you could select the configuration and you could create a new dedicated SQL pools. I'm not going to create it right now, we will create it later. Similarly, you could create Spark pool. So right now we don't have any Spark pool, but you could create a new Spark pool. You could select the minimum nodes, maximum nodes, and you could create it. So we have an option to create new Spark pool from the Manage tab. Similarly, you could create Data Explorer pool. So these are the three computing options which we use inside Synapse. Now similar to Data Factory, you could see linked service. So it allows us to connect to an external source. And right now there are two linked services. So this is created at the time of creating Synapse Analytics. So one of them is allow us to access our data lake and another one is Synapse Analytics. Now if you want to create a new linked service, you could click on new and you could select the type. You could select the type. So just like how we used to create linked service while working with the Data Factory, you could select the type and you could create it. And if you want to connect your Synapse Analytics with the Purview account, you could use this option. And if you create a pipeline, and if you want to create a trigger to execute your pipeline, you could use this option. So you have an option to create new trigger and you could select the type. So you could select the custom event or storage event or schedule or tumbling window, and based on your requirement or based on the type, you could specify trigger configuration and you could create a trigger that will trigger the pipeline. Similarly, you could create integration runtime. So in order to execute our pipeline, we need an integration runtime. And if you want to create a new integration runtime, you could select the self-hosted or Azure SSIS and you could use that option. Now, if you go to security, you could see we have an option to control access. So right now we granted access to user who created this Synapse and a service principal. But if you want to add new role, you could use this option. So if you want to grant access to new user, you could use these options. And you have an option to configure the credential. So you have an option to configure your credential inside Manage. Now if you go to Workspace package, you have an option to manage the libraries. So if you use Spark, you might need to use some external libraries. So this tab allows you to use external libraries. So if you want to manage external libraries, you could use Workspace package. Then we have data flow libraries and Apache Spark configuration is there. And this is the important part, Git configuration. So if you are working with the Azure Data Factory or Synapse, to configure your source or source control, you could either use Git or you could use DevOps. And this is very important. And inside our Azure Data Factory course, we cover this part in details. So how to configure or how to integrate your Azure Data Factory with Git or DevOps, we discuss in detail. But for a development purpose, you don't need this configuration or Git configuration. But in our organization, most of the time we will use Git or DevOps to control our source related information. So you could manage your Synapse Analytics using Manage tab. So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.